All right, guys. So, real quick, because of some issues, I'm not able to upload the videos here on YouTube. So, in order to watch the full reaction, please click the link down below. And then please come back and watch my review here of the episode. But we are going to get into that episode right now. But again, please make sure to click the link down below for my full reaction to the episode 2 of Gotham season 4, The Fear Reaper. So, very, very good episode. I really enjoyed that. And obviously, we got the Scarecrow flushed out very, very well. We also, and the other thing that I really, really like about what they're doing with this, the new season, now we're finally getting some kind of structure with the criminal underworld under Penguin, which is kind of cool. And now the others are kind of falling in line, but I don't expect them to play ball all the way through. I know Barbara is going to backstab Penguin at some point. I know that obviously that the Riddler is going to get de-iced somehow. So that's really interesting. The other thing that I like is the ladies. They're putting all the ladies together. Selena Kyle. We have Tigress. We also have Barbara. And eventually, I think Poison Ivy is going to enter the fold as well. And then another very, very interesting aspect is now Poison Ivy is going through another transformation. And hopefully, we'll get to see what that is next week. My thought is now she's going to start getting her power over plants and that sort of stuff. So they're really doing a good job of developing these characters, developing the origin for these characters. I tell people all the time that this series is a slow burn because it's an origin story for not only for Batman but for all of these characters that we know from the comic books and earlier TV series and whatnot, movies and whatnot. And I like the tie-in with the Batman Begins series of movies and how they're like loosely straddling that line, taking bits and pieces from that storyline, but making it their own. So I think that's really, really cool for this series, and I think it does very, very well. One person that I spoke to said, well, if you think about it, Gotham is really the story of Jim Gordon and not necessarily Batman. And I totally agree with that. It is the story of Jim Gordon, but Jim Gordon was that guy, that stand-up guy who did his best to keep Gotham clean and good, but it needed something more, and that's where Batman's going to come in. So we're actually getting to see what Gordon had to fight through prior to Batman becoming who he is. And now we're right in the midst of Batman becoming who he is. And the other thing that I like as well, they're doing a really good job of showing us the beginnings of Batman running around, fighting crime. He's not perfect. He's not getting out of every single situation. He's not beating everybody up. Alfred has to step in and save his butt a couple of times here. He stumbled and made a mistake and fell through the skyline, ended up in jail, which makes perfect sense for the beginnings of Batman. He would have stumbled and made some mistakes. He wouldn't have gotten out of every single situation as he will when he becomes the full Batman. And then, of course, the other thing that I really, really like is how they entered Lucius in the fold, because Lucius is not an idiot, and he can detect things very, very easily. He can read through what you're putting out there. Obviously, he read through the BS that Bruce and Alfred were feeding him in regards to the injuries that he received, and he kind of put two and two together and said, okay, this kid is doing something, and he's probably going to need my help. doing what it is that he's doing. So he shows up with the additional equipment for Bruce Wayne so he can do whatever it is that he's out there doing. And the other thing I like is Lucius is not so much worried about what it is that he's doing, but he wants to make sure, because he, remember, Lucius was a good friend of Bruce's father. So he's looking out for his son, just as Alfred is looking after Bruce Wayne. So very, very cool and interesting dynamic there. And again, they're straggling that line where Batman Begins, the storyline that Batman Begins gave us. They're kind of feeding that to us, but it's their interpretation of it, and I really, really enjoy it. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and score this episode right now. And it wasn't action-packed. We didn't get a lot of Batman running around beating up criminals, but we really did get a lot of structure for the series going forward. Again, Penguin and his organization and how he structured the crime world at this point. Barbara, we're seeing the beginnings of Club Sirens, and this is a very good setup for the movie that is somewhat in the works. So it's setting us up for all of the ladies to come together. We're going to get Ivory, Tigress, Barbara, and Catwoman all together doing what they do in Gotham. And this series is going to kind of set that up very nicely. So when that film premieres, everybody will be very familiar with these characters and what their role is in Gotham. So again, guys, I'm going to go ahead and score this episode. I'm going to give this episode a 8.5 out of 10. Excellent episode. I think it's setting us up for a lot in the near future of this series. We got a little bit of Batman running around, stumbling a little bit, making some mistakes as he would have. But that's exactly what I would expect from Batman at this point. I also like, again, how they brought Lucius in the fold. So very, very good. We also are getting our teams kind of set up as well. Batman's got his team together, Lucius, Alfred, and now we have Barbara has kind of gotten her team together. I think at some point Ivory's going to be put in the fold there as well with her new found powers, whatever they're going to do there. And then, of course, the Penguin is already set up and doing what he needs to do. And then also we're going to get Falcone back into the fold, and that's going to be Jim's backup for the time being until Batman is fully developed. So again, you've got to respect the structure that they're putting together here in this series, and how they're making it very entertaining without giving you loads of Batman or loads of the beginning of Batman. You're just getting little bits and pieces of the Batman, but you're seeing how Gotham developed to be what it was before Batman became Batman. So great stuff, guys. So I want to know what your thoughts are on this episode. What is your score for this episode? Are you enjoying this season as much as I am? Do you like their interpretation of the origin of these characters? I know some traditionalists may not approve of this particular interpretation of the Batman. I myself enjoy it, but I think they've done a really good job carrying this series without giving you much of the Batman. And once they do give you a full fleshed out Batman in this series, I mean, it can go on forever at that point. So great job. Love this particular episode, guys. Want to know what your thoughts are? Put those comments down below. I want to thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next reaction of Gotham.